And now, News 4's Weather Extra with Chief Meteorologist David Paul.
Welcome into Weather Extra. That sunshine out today, some clouds here and there today, but as we go through the coming days, a lot of sun, and it's getting stronger by the day, which means sunburn becomes more and more of an issue. Welcome in, meteorologist Ryan Duggar along my side here as we track the sun going into tomorrow and the weekend, the Mardi Gras parade. A lot of people will be outside celebrating, I'm sure, not thinking about that sun up in the sky.
Yeah, you know, it's something to consider. I mean, I've been very excited since this will be my first parade to see in person, but it's definitely important when you're thinking about what to bring. Also, don't forget that sunscreen because not going to be too many clouds in the sky either.
Yeah, bright sunshine. So let me show you this, kind of a neat look at solar radiation. So what you're looking at, the black line is the amount of sun's energy that we see throughout the year. And notice as we go to the beginning of March, there's usually an uptick, of course, compared to even a couple weeks ago, and then a big rise in that sun's energy during the month of March. The green dots are what we've seen so far this year. So that tan range kind of shows us on a sunny day, it'll be at the top. On a cloudy day, it'll be near the bottom. But typically, it's near that black line. And it means that if you're going to be outdoors for a long period of time, sunburn is a real concern. And you had a story from a baseball game, right? It didn't take you long to burn?
It did not. It did not. I went to a Mississippi State baseball game, no clouds in the sky, but it was cool and nice outside in April, so I didn't wear any sunscreen. Short sleeves, shorts, worst sunburn of my life. I couldn't move when I got back to my dorm room.
It doesn't take long. And yeah, the cooler air can fool you, but check this out. So we have different skin types on here, and this is based on the forecast for this Saturday, midday, solar noon. How long will it take for the sunburn to start? Depending on your skin type, could be 6 minutes, could be 17 minutes, could be over 100 minutes. For someone like you, Ryan, it's probably more like 6 to 10 minutes?
Honestly, for gingers, it could be 4 minutes, 3 minutes at that point. So that's why I'm definitely going to be applying that sunscreen even before I head out for that parade.
Yeah, smart. The parade will feature a lot of sun. It gets underway at 3:30, but people will be lined up well before 3:30, enjoying everything coming your way, ending downtown on Foster Street when it's dark outside. But if you're waiting for the parade during the day, make sure you have that sunscreen on. Another issue this time of year is the pollen. Pollen counts are on the way up. It is allergy season. Here's meteorologist Zach Webster with more.
You've likely already seen just a little bit of it outside over the last few days. We're starting to get back into pollen season, which also means we're getting back into allergy season as well, and that will continue to increase as we get farther along into those warmer months. Just over the next 3 days, tree pollen counts continue to stay pretty high, with grass pollen and weed pollen continuing to stay pretty low, and that should continue to be the pattern throughout, at the very least, the next about couple months or so, at least until early April. Tree pollen going to continue to stay pretty high. Then we'll see a transition more toward those other pollens causing you those allergies as we get farther along into those warmer months. Tree pollen is the highest between February and April, and again, it's the leading cause of any seasonal allergy symptoms as we head through those springtime months. Then once we close out the spring and start to get into summertime, the end of April and into early June, that's when we'll start to see that grass pollen start to increase, those grass pollen counts start to increase. And then once we get later into the summer and start to move into the fall months, especially right before that first hard frost, that's when we'll start to see the weed pollen counts on the increase, especially that ragweed.
In the springtime, the gnats are next.
Yeah, right.
Season's about to be here as well.
Yeah, especially if you're getting close to Georgia like I was for a long time. Yeah, the gnats are bad.
Yeah, just a matter of time. Well, coming up next, we go in the yard with me and we break down that severe setup for next Wednesday on Weather Extra coming up.
And now, News 4's Weather Extra.
A week ago, we were talking about low temperatures in the 20s. I'm not seeing any freezing air over the next week to 10 days. Maybe we're done with freezes. I wouldn't rule out frost, but hey, we're turning the corner. Springtime is moving in.
Yeah, and I mean, just early February, that was a nice taste. Of course, that cold air we had this time last week, but things are looking warmer, and I think we've been ready for that for a long time.
I have. Time to clean up the landscape because we had a really cold stretch there in January that made a lot of things outside brown. So in my yard, I've started that cleanup process. Here's a look. the yard this week, it's time for some spring cleanup. I'm going to start up there. Got a lot to cut off here, so let's get to it. For those of you keeping track at home, that's 42. Some of these other bushes, I'm going to wait until springtime really kicks in to see if they come back. This is a bottle brush bush. Some of it is certainly dead looking. And I think this trunk here on the left is pretty much done. This one was hit pretty hard a couple years ago by that freeze in 2022. So I'm just going to let this one go to the graveside and let it come back, hopefully from the other trunks. It's also time for me to cut back on some of these bananas right at the base. That's all for In the Yard today. I'm tired, time for a drink, and time for me to go to work. And by drink, I mean water, just to clarify.
Especially when it was so warm. What I can't get over is when you said time to go to work. Like you come here after doing all of that.
My neck hurts from looking up, but yeah, I come to work and now I can kind of sit in an office and relax.
I was going to say, yeah, I'd have to take a whole day off after that.
I'll see how I feel tomorrow.
Yeah.
All right, next week we are focused on the severe potential in the wiregrass. Let's go to the graphic here. A different view of the system using the future radar. So there's that spin well off the coast, moving into the U.S. as we get towards Sunday midday. Ryan, a classic vorticity max moving on through the country. All of a sudden, the moisture gets involved, showers and storms break out.
Exactly, and we are so used to this line developing well off to our west and gaining traction as it makes its way to the east and, of course, as it makes its way through. Luckily, some of the timing has been aiming more towards the afternoon. Yeah. Like you said, we haven't seen an event like that in a while, but yeah, something to keep an eye on.
All right, some of the parameters coming together for Wednesday. Let's bulletproof that, or let's bullet. How do you say make bullet?
Yeah, like highlight or sandwich.
Yeah, make bullets.
Yeah.
Bullet point. Bullet points.
Make a list.
Bullet point this. All right. Significant tornado parameter, pretty high Wednesday. Low level jet Wednesday, 2 p.m. Right on top of that, the CAPE, the energy in the atmosphere, boom, lining up. So we're making that severe cake. And there's a look at the future radar as it comes in. A lot of ingredients to produce severe weather in place Wednesday afternoon. Sometime Wednesday, midday or afternoon. We'll keep watching that, and we'll update that tomorrow. That's it for today's episode of Weather Extra. Thanks for being here. We'll see you tomorrow. Good night.